Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hi friends, today I'm bringing you a recommendations video and this one is for slow burn romances, okay? I realized that I haven't made one of these before. I've maybe looped it in with some other things, but when I went to check my video log, I've never made a slow burn romance rec video and that is ridiculous, okay? Okay, so here's the thing too, I'm not always the hugest fan of a slow burn, but to me it depends on what's defined as a slow burn, right? And there is some variation within this series. Some of them, there may be physical together earlier, but the love is very slow building. Because to me, I don't just consider the sex being delayed as a slow burn. Some people might, that's not what I think. To me, it's an emotional thing. Like there are some erotic romances that I think are slow burn romance. I don't have any of those included in this one because I know in general people won't agree with me on that, and that's okay. These are all ones that I believe wait at least until 50% before that, but there may still be like some things before then. It's just the love takes a while. Like just a quick example of this, I would put like The Pleasure Protocol by Darcy, I can't remember the last name right now, but this is one that it is an escort romance and they're having sex right from the jump, but them realizing that it's love and not just, you know, her being paid to have sex with him thinking, you know, I'm paying her to have sex with me. Their feelings take a lot longer to get there. So I would consider that relationship a slow burn, even if it's still an erotic romance and there's sex all the way through. Again, I know not everyone sees it that way. That's just how I look at it, is to me it's a slow burn for them realizing their feelings and or for there to be steam on the page. Because we all know some people can have sex without feelings. That's not going to be what everyone wants. But let's go ahead and get into it. I have 10 recommendations for you that are slow burns. And I thought I would go back to a couple oldies for this because I used to read a lot more slow burn. Maybe I was a little more patient back in the day, but let's do a couple. So one I think is a really delicious slow burn is actually Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. So I haven't shown this book in a long time. Mostly I think it's because like 90% of romance booktube has probably read this. But you know what? Sometimes it's good to remind people because sometimes the older books get pushed aside for the newer ones and we forget about these. But this to me was one of the OG ex-boyfriend's dad. Like it was before there was even enough of those for it to be a trope, right? So this book was so like shocking to me, right? Up until this point, a lot of the age gaps I'd read had been like forbidden student teacher scenarios or things like that, which still really spicy, love it. But this one was an ex-boyfriend's dad. And we have our heroine Jordan, who her and her boyfriend have ended up moving in with his father, and not long after she's moved in with him, which by the way, she's met the father before she knew he was the father. They didn't have like a one-night stand or a kiss or any of that. They actually were at the same movie at the same time, and they sat near each other and talked. And there was some sweet chemistry, but she was dating someone. He wasn't, you know, he was like, oh, this is a pretty girl. And then when he finds out that she's his son's 19-year-old girlfriend, he's shocked and horrified with himself. And also she's now living in his house. So things, you know, again, there was nothing ever between them in that. They just had met and were like, oh, I like this person. But it doesn't take long for Jordan's boyfriend to be an absolute ass and like ruin everything. And they break up. And she has nowhere to go. Like her living with her boyfriend wasn't necessarily a want. It was a need. She had no place to go while she's still in school. And so Pike is like, well, he's the one who fucked this up. You don't have to go anywhere. He can go, which is a bit of a controversial decision, but he's like, you have nowhere to go. He has somewhere else he can go. You can continue to stay here and keep up our end of the bargain, which I think like hers was to clean and do some of the cooking, and then they didn't have to like pay as much rent or anything for that. So she's like, okay. So now these two are stuck in this house together. And now the tension really starts to boil because now, you know, there's still the impediment of her having dated his son, but she's not currently dating his son. And so temptation is coming for us, okay? But yeah, this is a really good slow burn. And this one is one where you just are like, just kiss already. You just want it really bad. Okay, another one for some throwback goodness is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. So this is the one, as I was saying, where there are some physical things happening between them, not super early on, but Hannah has actually lived through a traumatic event, and her and Garrett, I'm not going to go through the full details of these. We're going to keep it a bit snappier here. But they end up coming up with this deal where she's helping him study for a class and he's helping her get a boyfriend because she had a sexual assault happen to her when she was in high school and she hasn't been able to like get off with a guy since then. She hasn't been able to like feel what she wants to feel. She's having she's having PTSD and all these things. And Garrett, when he finds out the full gamut of this, at first he thinks she just wants a boyfriend, and so he's helping. They start fooling around a little bit to help her get more comfortable with those things. So yes, there are a few sexual things that happen sooner, but their feelings it's a really slow burn until they get there, and it's so good. Garrett and Hannah are a must-read couple. Like this is great. And this series, we just found out, is getting picked up by Amazon to do a series, which I'm nervous, but I'm also a little hopeful because this could make a really good series, especially with all of the books and the spin-off series and all that. There's a lot of material here to work with. Okay, then this one's fun. I have a few fantasies for this one. We have Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Yes, so good. And this series I read early last year and it was amazing. But this one is about Tasana, and she's forced to flee for her life, and the only hope that she has is to go to the Orders, and they're an organization of magic wielders that is strong enough to destroy her former master. So she used to be a slave. And she has a bit of magic in her blood for sure. So she goes to them to ask for help, and they end up assigning her this man named Maxentarius Faraleone, who is a handsome general, and he is now a bit of a recluse. He's not even that old, okay, but he is a bit of a recluse because of some heavy losses that he took in the past, and he just emotionally doesn't want to lead anymore. But he gets Tasana assigned to him basically to help teach her and help her learn. So this is a forced proximity, and he's very grumpy. There's a lot of secrets he's being forced to keep that he's not allowed to tell her, that he wishes she would understand. Like, there's just a lot going on for this couple. But this trilogy and the romance between Max and Tasana, it's so beautiful. I just adore them so much. And I know Carissa Broadbent is still having her moment. I'm so happy about that. But this series deserves a lot of love as well because it's beautiful. Okay, it's beautiful. All right, we have Devil in Winter by Lisa Kleypas, right? This is book 3 in the Wallflower series. And this one, of course, has our wonderful Sebastian St. Vincent. And he's a bit of a rogue. He's a bit of a scoundrel. And he caused us a bit of trouble in a previous book. And so he's a bit on the outs. However, we have Evie, who she is being very much controlled by her family. Her father is dying. And she's being, she needs help. And so she knows that Sebastian's looking for a wife, hence some stuff that happened in a previous book that caused some problems. And so she offers herself with the promise that he will give her the independence that she needs, he'll get the capital that he needs, and he'll be protecting her from her family. So he agrees to do that. Now, they do consummate their marriage in the beginning, but then she makes it very clear to him that she's not going to just be his plaything. Yes, they got marriage of convenience, but she doesn't need anything else from him but the marriage, basically. And so if he wants back in her bed, he's going to have to win it. And so he goes about winning it. All right? He does. Sebastian St. Vincent, my absolute gem. He's not my favorite Kleypas hero, though he is a lot of people's, but I do love him. Okay? I do love that darling rogue. He's wonderful. All right, we have Wraith Kings, particularly the first book, which is Radiance, okay? And I love this bind up here. This is really pretty. But this is by Grace Draven, and this book is about this couple who's forced into an arranged marriage. I think it's Idiko and Brishan. Okay, I had to look at their names. It's been a while. And she is a human, and he is a, his type of people. Is it called a wraith? Sorry, the Kai. He's the prince of the Kai. And they have this arranged marriage. Now, what I love about this book and what a lot of people do is that their races think the other one is hideous. But they actually meet each other before the wedding, not knowing who the other one is, which is crazy to me. And they have this nice little interaction. They're both nervous about a marriage they're supposed to have. And so when they walk down the aisle and meet each other at the altar and discover that it's this person they met, they decide they're going to be friends. Like, they get married, they decide they're going to be friends. They're like, you know, neither one of us really wanted it, but our people needed this, and there's no reason we have to be enemies. We both want what's best for our people. Let's work together. So they don't consummate their marriage right away. Honestly, she's a little worried about how it would even like work a little bit, because he does have some interesting parts, not quite the same as hers, right? Or as a human man's, right? But they become these great friends. And so by the time they do consummate their relationship, they already deeply care for the other person. And so it makes any awkwardness or weirdness for them being different species to kind of be smoothed away. But yeah, this is a really beautiful slow burn between the two of them. Books 1 and 2 are both their story, and then books 3 is a different couple. I hope someday she'll put out more. I know Grace Draven has had some health difficulties, and so there hasn't been another one yet. But I just love the writing in these, and this couple is so precious. I love them so much. All right, then we have one that I actually just read. I haven't even been able to talk about it in a weekly wrap-up yet because I was gone the last weekend. But this one was a slow burn, and it was a bit angstier than I normally like, and I'll tell you why, because it does have some slight cheating in it, okay? For sure, emotional cheating before anything else. And this is Sunday Morning by Julie Ann. And this is about a girl named Sarah and her boyfriend's brother, Isaac. So this is also a bit of a religious focused book, though it's not, that's the wrong word. There's a lot of religion within it because her father's actually a pastor, and she's dating Matthew, who her family like thinks she's going to marry him. She's just graduated high school though, so she's 18, and it's the summer kind of before like going anywhere. And her and Maddie have like, they're together, but they've already decided they're going to end things when they both go to school. The thing is, again, their families really want them to be together. There's also the fact that Maddie's family actually rents the land that her family's house is on, and there's been times that her family has missed a payment and they have let it go because it's the pastor and also their friends. And so it would put them in kind of a difficult position if their families like fought over the fact that they broke up, which again would be very strange that they care so much because these are children, but it's the truth. Okay, it's the truth. So Sarah and Maddie aren't really like into each other, but they're kind of just like, they've been dating, and now they're kind of like fake dating through the end of the summer, but they have been together. Maddie is who she loses her virginity to, and you know, he's just a nice guy. Then there is his brother Isaac, who is 6 years older than them. He has recently gotten back from the military and he's working on his family farm. He's a bad boy. He smokes and plays guitar, and he's very cheeky. And I just loved him right away. And Sarah doesn't like him, and they're always like bickering with each other, and he's teasing her. He's also a cowboy in the rodeo, which is cool. He does calf roping and stuff, which Sarah has problems with sometimes while he's roping the cows, which is cute. It's cute. But anyway, this relationship between them is slowly building through the summer. And there's also, she has a dream of wanting to be a singer and guitar player. And the only one who really fosters that dream is actually Isaac, because he has a guitar. She borrows his guitar at different times so she can play. And he kind of makes it clear at a certain point that like, he's waiting whenever she finally admits that she's done with Maddie. And she realizes the stakes, he realizes the stakes, but he's also like, you're not meant to be with Maddie. And this is before he even knows that like her and Maddie are kind of fake dating. So again, there is almost some cheating going on throughout this story. However, it's some of the mildest form of cheating I've ever seen. I know. You guys know I don't love that, but there's an exception to every rule. And this one, it really was working for me just because Isaac isn't like only pressuring her into like sexy things. He genuinely really likes Sarah, and he knows that they'd be a good fit. And this is forbidden age yet, right? Like, he's 24, she's 18. It's her you know, boyfriend and then ex-boyfriend's brother. He's the bad boy too. So there's a lot. And other aspects I enjoyed, and again, I'll go more into this in my weekly wrap up that will be coming up, is I really liked how religion was handled in this, because when Sarah goes through her times of questioning God and going through that, she doesn't go full on like, I can live in sin, like what's God gonna do about it? She does still question, like, am I making the right decision? What's my relationship with God? Is it only because my parents told me to? And when at a point her father particularly is trying to maybe shame her, she's like, you know, that's coming from your mouth. Like, God doesn't say it that way. And I like that kind of stuff, because anyway, my own opinion is that God is much easier on us than other humans make out that God would be, right? Anyway, that's my personal thing. But it also doesn't completely take over the story if you don't want that. This was very like sweet, angsty, little bit of naughty, still had some great scenes, but this was definitely a beautiful slow burn that I liked. Then there is another historical, and this one is The Marquis Who Mustn't by Courtney Milan. This book I read earlier this year for my historical romance book club that I have with Crystal, and this one was just absolutely lovely. This one has fake dating in it. It has a woman who wants to become a, basically like a paramedic and type things. I know it's historical, but she wants to take what's called ambulance classes, which is basically for like first aid, to help in that way. And her small village that she lives in was actually really done wrong by Kai's father. And Kai has come back to town because he wants to make amends. And the town is very suspicious of him because their father had stolen a lot of their money all those years ago. And he's there to kind of pay these people back, as well as prove that he's not the same as his father. And many years ago, Naomi was actually promised in marriage to him. So when he returns, there's actually a situation where he helps her be able to go to ambulance classes by pretending to be her fiance. And since that was an arrangement that was already set up, she just tells her parents, well, we wanted to be together, so we're going to stay engaged. And they're like, but you don't have to follow through with that. His father was a thief and a criminal. You don't have to be engaged to him. And she's like, no, it's fine. He's not like his father. But I mean, she certainly doesn't know that when we start off, right? But anyway, these two spend a lot of time together, and the way that they think about each other is just so beautiful and caring. The way that Kai wants her to live out her dreams, and the way that she says, like, my dreams now include you. So we need to make that work. And this one was such a beautiful, sweet slow burn. I just loved it. It was great. Okay, then there also is Forbidden Game by Madison Fox. This one was book 2 in her game trilogy that she has. And so it's about the system, which is these 3 gamers who always wear these masks, and they are like gamers at a high level, right? They have sponsorships, they make money off of, they stream together all the time, all that jazz. Now, at the end of the first book, minor spoiler, like, people know who the system is now. So instead of being able to be as low-key as they've been before and be able to go out in public without being seen, like, they can't do it anymore. Okay, people know who they are. But the hero of this one, Parker, people already knew who he was because his family is very wealthy. And at the beginning of this book, their publicist, I think Sydney is the publicist, Parker has a thing for her, and she's very much like, I can't date my client, it's not going to happen. And she's trying to keep all these guys in line and handle all of their everything. And Parker, he ends up having a discussion with I think it's the grandpa of like the family dynasty, is like, you are into this gaming, you're not serious about the family business, so I'm going to like cut you out of it. And Parker is just like really upset about that. And so there's kind of this arbitrary challenge that he ends up getting into, that if he's able to do a certain amount of these challenges, then he'll prove that he's able to do it. I don't know. It's a bit dodgy what the reason is, but the slow burn is between the publicist, Sydney, and Parker, and it was adorable. Okay. Their slow burn is great. Parker always kind of like poking at her, wanting her to give him a chance. And she's like, no, must stay professional. But Parker just shows so much care for her. It's hard to keep pushing him away because he's just so great, you know? So very sweet. The 3rd book in this series is coming very soon, so make sure you get caught up. I love Madison. I've actually beta read for this whole series for her, and I just love her story. It's so good. Okay, then we have Jump on 3 by J. Wolfe or Julia Wolfe. This is a part of her new adult series, and I just really love this one because this one is about a heroine, Evelyn, who is on the spectrum, and she has a twin sister, and her twin sister actually previously liked Ivan, who he's a swimmer, Evelyn's a swimmer, so they spend a lot of time on the swimming bus together. And now her sister is dating somebody else because her sister found love in a previous book, and Ivan is actually interested in Evelyn, and she like doesn't want to give him a chance because it's like, my sister liked you, and he's like, your sister is literally dating someone else right now, how does that matter? She's like, doesn't matter, I would never betray my sister's done so much for me. And Evelyn, she's also dealing with bullying in this. She is afraid to tell anyone what's happening to her because previously they've moved schools when someone's bullying her, and she really doesn't want her sister to do that because her sister's in love with someone, as well as like things are going so well. So she's hiding that. But Ivan just slowly and diligently builds trust with her, builds a friendship with her, and finally she realizes she is attracted to him as well and wants things to go further. And Ivan is like, you've really got to make sure that's what we want to do. Ivan also has some other complications because he is actually Russian. His father is a Russian oligarch, and he is supposed to have to like go back or be in the business that his father wants him to be in when he graduates. So they may also have a ticking time clock that is going as well in that aspect. If y'all aren't reading Julia Wolfe yet, I don't know what more I can do to convince you. It's a beautiful slow burn. All right. And then the last one I'll share is King of Sloth, which I could have picked actually a couple of the books in this series because she does slow burns in most of them. But this being the King of Sloth and it being slow burn romance, I just wanted to go for it, okay? But this one is about Javier and Sloan. And she actually is a publicist, which is funny. And she's used to dealing with difficult clients. However, she's never like wanted to be with one as much as she wants to be with Javier. And he ends up in this tricky position where, is it his father or his grandfather died? I can't remember now. I think it's his grandfather. And, or maybe it was his dad. Now I literally don't know. But he has to prove that he has what it takes to be the CEO, or else he's going to be passed over for somebody else. So he's the heir, it's supposed to be him, but they think he's too much of a fuckboy and messes around too much to take the business seriously. And so he needs to prove that he can. And so he ropes in Sloan to help him prove that he can be the CEO that he needs to be for the family business. So this is another kind of like, I wouldn't full on say it's forbidden, but he is her client, and so that does give her a bit of pause sometimes for there being more between them. But I really love these two. This is really sweet. I love this whole series, the Kings of Sin series. I think Anna Huang does such an amazing job with them, and her new book Striker that's coming this month actually spins off from that, and we actually meet that character who will be, I think he's a, is he hockey? See, I think he's a soccer player, and I believe he's also one of Sloane's clients, and that's the connection, some of her different clients. But great one here. So there you go. Those are a few slow burn romances. I know there isn't a Mariana Zapata to be found. That's because I don't read her books, because her level of slow burn is the kind that makes me want to poke out my eyes. But plenty of other people have made recommendations for her. I believe she hasn't made any videos in a long time, but Bree from In Love and Words actually made one that is all of Mariana Zapata's slow burns. So definitely check that out if you're interested in her. But thank you so much for watching, friends. Make sure you like this, subscribe, comment for engagement here. Maybe a little turtle. Let's do a little turtle down below for slow burn, okay? Thank you so much for watching, friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye.